Hey, welcome back. It's JWalter here. There's two reports I want to share with you guys today. The first one is from Redfin, and Redfin is reporting that home buying competition has now dropped to its lowest level in over 2 years. So in other words, we're seeing fewer bidding wars right now across the United States. And the second report I want to share with you guys is an update regarding mortgage delinquencies and, of course, foreclosures, because there's a new report from Black Knight. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive right into the video. And of course, if you guys get any value out of this video whatsoever, then please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. All right, let's go ahead and dive right into this video here. This is according to Redfin. And this article here was published last week. It says nationwide 49.9% of home offers that were written by Redfin agents face competition. This is the lowest share since May 2020, which is pretty remarkable because back in April and May of 2020, our housing market was basically on a standstill. So it's pretty eye-opening that we basically have the same bidding war rate compared to the onset of this pandemic here. Also, the rate of bidding wars actually decreased quite a bit from 1 year ago. So for June, again, it's 49.9%. 1 year ago, it was 65%. Also, last month, it was 57.3%. And this also marks the fifth consecutive monthly decline. And have a look at this. This is homebuyer competition ever since April 2020. And by the way, these are the percent share of Redfin offers that face competition. In other words, when Redfin places an offer for the home buyers, if they encounter at least one competing offer, they call that a bidding war. So right now it's 49.9%. At least for June 2022. But look at this. The peak was in January of this year when about 70% of offers that were written by Redfin agents encountered at least one competing offer. And we're seeing fewer competition amongst other home buyers right now, of course, because of higher mortgage rates, high home prices, inflation, and a faltering stock market, which has basically eroded home buyers' budgets. And because a lot of home buyers are really facing a lot of these headwinds here, more home buyers are canceling their contracts. So according to Redfin, 14.9% of houses that went under contract in June actually canceled their contract. And this is the highest percentage on record, with the exception of the start of this pandemic. We're also seeing some very big differences compared to 1 year ago in some select markets here. In Riverside, California, 31.9% of home offers written by Redfin agents faced competition in June, down from 70.5% from 1 year ago. So 1 year ago in Riverside, it was 70%. Now it's just under 32%. And this, by the way, is the biggest decrease amongst this analysis here, which incorporates 36 U.S. metro areas. And after Riverside, California was Raleigh, North Carolina, followed by Charlotte, North Carolina, Seattle, Washington, and then Honolulu, Hawaii. And according to a real estate agent who's based in Minneapolis, Minnesota, showings have dramatically decreased. Homes that would have had 20 showings 2 months ago are now getting 1 or even none. And speaking of home showings decreasing, here's the latest report that we have from the National Association of Realtors Central Lock Home Showings Report, which is basically a report for June showing that on a national level, home showings decreased 20% year over year, and also home showings decline in every major region as well. So in the Northeast, it decreased the most, down 53%. So in other words, in the Northeast, the number of home showings by real estate agents decreased 53% compared to 1 year ago in June 2021. Also, the Midwest decreased by 29%, the West by 20%, and the South decreased by 12%. What stands out to me in this report here is that we have 20% less home showings compared to 1 year ago, but we have approximately 30% more houses listed for sale compared to 1 year ago. So according to altosresearch.com, for the 7-day average ending July 22nd of this year, we have 525,000 houses for sale. And back 1 year ago, we had approximately 403,000 houses for sale. So even though we have approximately 30% more houses for sale compared to 1 year ago, the number of home showings have decreased on a national level by 20%. What this is telling me is that home buying demand is decreasing greatly, because if home buying demand was still very, very strong and we have 30% more houses listed for sale, one would assume we'd have much more home showings, but it's actually moving in the opposite direction. On top of this, Redfin is reporting that home buying competition increased on a year-over-year basis in just 2 of the 36 markets that Redfin looked at. So in other words, 34 of these markets here had a decrease in home buying competition. So only Colorado Springs, Colorado, and Providence, Rhode Island had an increase of home buying competition from 1 year ago. In fact, in Providence, Rhode Island, 77.6% of offers that were written by Redfin agents encountered competition in June, a higher share than any other metro in this analysis. In stark contrast, Tampa Bay, Florida, had the lowest bidding war rate at 28.9%. And have a look at this. In Tampa, Florida, they had the lowest share of bidding wars across the nation here, or at least according to these 36 metro areas. But 1 year ago, the share was 58.8%. In second place with the lowest share was Riverside, California, followed by Phoenix, Arizona, Raleigh, North Carolina, and Honolulu, Hawaii. And look at the differences compared to 1 year ago for these top 5 metros here, because in Honolulu, 38.9%, but 1 year ago, it was basically 70%. Also 74.1% in Raleigh, North Carolina. Phoenix, Arizona, 58%. Now it's just 35%. In stark contrast, here are the areas that had the highest share of home buying competition as of June 2022. Again, that's Providence, Rhode Island, 77.6%, followed by Boston, Philadelphia, Indianapolis, and Worcester, Massachusetts at 62.7%. In Sacramento, California, where I live and work as a real estate agent, the share was actually 54% back in June 2022. Last month, it was 57%, and 1 year ago, it was 75.4%. Obviously, I'm not going to be going over every city and seaport here, otherwise this video would be 5 hours long. But if you guys want to take a look at it, I'll leave a link below for you guys. So with that said, let's change gears slightly and talk about mortgage delinquencies and of course foreclosures, because this is a brand new report from data analytics giant Black Knight. It was actually just published on the 25th of July, which is actually today. It says here mortgage delinquencies and foreclosure starts were edging higher in June, but remain well below pre-pandemic levels. So the national delinquency rate, and by the way, these are only for mortgages. So the mortgage delinquency rate rose 9 basis points, which is 0.09%, to reach 2.84% after hitting consecutive record lows in each of the prior 3 months. Also, this increase was broad-based because the 90-day delinquency rate actually broke a 21-month streak of improvement with a modest 1% uptick from the prior month. This is pretty remarkable because we're starting to see potentially some early signs of a shift here, because for 21 consecutive months, the delinquency rate for 90 days or more past due has actually been declining. So this is the first time in 21 months that we've had an uptick in that rate. And foreclosure starts actually edged higher last month as well. They were actually up 27% in June, but we're still 40% below pre-pandemic levels, marking a 441% increase on a year-over-year basis. Obviously, this year-over-year increase of 441% is more due to the federal foreclosure moratoriums that were in place about 1 year ago. And because the federal moratorium is basically expired right now, as of, I believe it was last summer, we're seeing a big increase percentage-wise from a year ago. And by the way, this report here is thanks to Black Knight, which is a data analytics firm that basically supports the mortgage and real estate industries. And this is a first look at June 2022 month-end mortgage performance. And this report here is based on data that represents the majority of the national mortgage market. Before I share the states that have the highest and lowest share of mortgage delinquencies, have a look at this. Again, on a national level, the rate right now for total mortgage delinquencies is 2.84%. That's a 3.3% increase from last month, but it has decreased by 35% on a year-over-year basis. We also only have 23,800 foreclosure starts in June 2022. That's an increase of almost 27% from 1 month ago, and a big decrease of 441% from 1 year ago. And the number of properties that are at least 30 days or more past due but not yet in foreclosure is basically at 1.5 million properties right now. That's an increase of 50,000 from last month, but a decrease of almost 810,000 from last year. And for properties that are at least 90 days or more past due, but again, not yet in foreclosure, that represented just under 600,000 properties in June 2022, a slight increase from last month, but a big decrease from 1 year ago. The number of properties that are at least 30 days or more past due, or they are in foreclosure, represents 1.7 million properties right now, but that's down 766,000 from a year ago. And here are the top 5 states that have the highest share of mortgage delinquencies. So Mississippi actually leads the pack at 6.41%, meaning that all of the mortgages out there right now, 6.41% are not current on the mortgages. In other words, they're at least 30 days or more past due. But take a look at this because this is pretty crazy. So right now, 6.41%. The peak in October 2005 was 23.24%. So even though Mississippi leads the nation in the share of mortgages that are past due, it's still far below the peak back in October 2005. It's also not too much higher than the all-time record low that was set in March 2000, where approximately 5.5% were late on their mortgages. We're also seeing a similar trend in Louisiana at 5.65%, but in October 2005 again, the share was 30.43%. What I found to be really interesting regarding this is that even though Louisiana, Alabama, Oklahoma, and West Virginia basically rounded out the top 5 states that are not current on their mortgages, back in May 2022, they actually had an all-time record low for the share of mortgages that were actually past due. Also, when looking at these numbers here for May 2022, they're not too much lower than June's stats here as well. So those are the states with the highest share of mortgages that are basically past due. But in stark contrast, here are the states that have the lowest share. Utah actually was in number 5 here. That was followed by Colorado, California, Washington, and Idaho. So in Idaho, only 1.66% of the mortgages out there are delinquent on their mortgages. And this really makes sense because in Idaho, this is the state that probably experienced one of the highest share of price appreciation over the past couple of years. And that, of course, is why we're seeing a big decrease of 31% compared to 1 year ago. We're also seeing that in these other states as well. All these other states decreased by 31% from last year. And by the way, the current share right now for Utah, Washington State, and Idaho is not too much higher than the all-time record lows that was basically set in May. Because look at this, in Idaho, at 1.63% was the all-time record low that was set back in May, and now it's only 1.66%. Also in Washington, it was 1.61% back in May, and now it's only 1.66% as well. And in Utah, it was 1.92%, the all-time record low that was set last May, and now it's only 1.95%. And here are the top 5 states with the highest share of mortgages of at least 90 days or more past due. Mississippi actually leads the pack at 2.43%, but look at this big decrease compared to 1 year ago, down 50% from a year ago, and also far lower than the peak that was set back in December 2005, when the share was actually at 10.18%. And next came Louisiana at 2.1%, followed by Alabama, Alaska, and then Maryland. Interesting to note that even though these are the top 5 states that have the highest share of mortgages of at least 90 days or more past due, look at these year-over-year changes, decreasing quite a bit, around 50 to 61% from 1 year ago. Also, the peak for each of these states here is far higher compared to the current levels right now. So Mississippi, 2.43%, the peak was 10%. But look at Louisiana, 2.11% right now. And at the peak in December 2005, it was 13.30%. We also saw much higher rates during the peak in Alabama, Alaska, and Maryland as well. So comment below with your biggest takeaways from today's video. Also, if you guys got any value out of today's video whatsoever, then please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. Hope you guys have an awesome day and look forward to seeing you on the next video.